But here's a black comedian making more sense than anyone from the NRA. Take a listen.
You don't need no gun control. You know what you need? We need some bullet control. We need to control the bullets. That's right. I think all bullets should cost $5,000. $5,000 for a bullet. You know why? Because if a bullet costs $5,000, there'll be no more innocent bystanders.
Professor Dyson, when even comedians and crooners like Tony Bennett are begging for some kind of action, are you becoming more optimistic that the nation is prepared now to do something substantive on this issue?
Well, I am. I'm hopeful, at least. Optimism may be a shallow virtue when compared to hope, which is deep and abiding, even against the evidence. But I think the evidence is growing in line with people's sentiments across this nation who are simply fed up. We want common sense gun control. We want a president who uses his bully pulpit to tell the truth about the disregard for common sense among those people who are promoting, the wild and vigilant and aggressive, no-hose-barred approach to guns. The NRA has to be brought into line here. Most Americans think that, yes, we want to protect the Second Amendment. We don't want to undermine it or, as the president said, subvert it. But at the same time, we want to have common sense approaches here that allow people to say, yes, enough is enough. And when Chris Rock and Tony Bennett and Amanda Peet come together and forge a connection, I think that sends a powerful message to the nation that, yes, this message is getting a broad hearing and people should pay attention.
And Julian, to that point, while the NRA says that even background checks are not worth the time of day, just take a look at what the public is saying. A new poll says that 39% of voters are less likely to support a candidate if they're endorsed by the NRA. And are we reaching a tipping point, not just in terms of potential legislation, but also in terms of the NRA and its power and influence both over politicians and this nation?
We are reaching a tipping point. The politics have changed. The question is whether people that want to do something about this can marshal the public will to overcome the obstructionism by the Republicans in the Congress who are clearly going against the majority will here. And I just want to underscore a point that I made the other day, Martin, which is that, I think right now even the opponents are conceding that we will get background checks. They're silently and privately on Capitol conceding they can't stop that because 90% of Americans support that. But there is emerging amongst Democrats a kind of path of least resistance conventional wisdom that background checks are all that we can get. And I think that's very unfortunate because background checks, as important as they are, as I said the other day, would not stop the massacre in Newtown. They would not have stopped the massacre in Aurora. They probably would not have stopped the massacre in Virginia Tech. And the idea that we now, with those numbers that you're citing, would begin to seed the argument that even though 60 to 70% of Americans want some action on clips, they want action on assault weapons, Chris Rock made the right point that we need more than simply background checks. We should be looking at other ways, like taxing bullets, taxing ammunition, to stop the kind of mayhem that we have. 30,000 gun-related homicides each year. The gun industry makes maybe $1 billion in profits, but public health professionals will tell you that those 30,000 homicides and the other gun injuries that don't result in homicides are costing this country tens of billions of dollars a year. So this is a huge economic crisis as well. So I think the fact that Democrats would now be talking about ceding the ground and just compromising on background checks would be very unfortunate given the changing politics.
It would be astonishing. Professor,